So, I hear that Congress finally stopped making NASA spend money on a rocket that had been canceled.
Yes. In the latest continuing budget resolution, which will last for a long time, 5 whole months, Congress finally released them from the language that required them to continue to work on Constellation.
So now, NASA can focus on the hardware it needs to actually explore space.
Yes. Won't that be great? Actually, of course, I was just joking. In exchange for finally ending the Constellation zombie, they put another one in its place.
What do you mean?
The new CR includes a $3 billion earmark to ensure that the Constellation contractors continue to get their funds to build a new rocket.
Yet another new rocket?
Yes.
What does this one look like?
Apparently, it is some variant on the Senate launch system, though the required payload size seems to be in doubt.
Well, what is the payload?
No one seems to know.
Is there a budget for the payload?
Nothing explicit.
So we don't know what the payload is, or what it costs?
No.
Or how much it weighs?
No.
Well, it is hard to be shocked that the payload requirement for the latest Senate launch system is somewhat ambiguous.
Yes.
Is there any relief to the ambiguity?
A little bit. Some interpret it as 70 tons, others as 130, and it must be available by 2016.
Is that English tons, or metric tons?
Do not ask. The question confuses them.
Has NASA come up with a response to this conundrum?
Reportedly.
What do they propose?
They propose spending $12 billion on a shuttle-derived vehicle that will use existing shuttle engines. This meets with the congressional objectives of using existing contracts and contractors, and getting a 70-ton vehicle by 2016.
Can it actually be done by that date, for that amount of money?
Judging by history, probably not.
Well, if it can, would it close the gap and eliminate our reliance on the Russians for ISS?
Not really. It is far too large to make sense as a launcher for the crew capsule.
But this 70-ton vehicle will fly many missions, and gradually grow to 130 tons, whether English or metric. Right?
Sort of.
What does "sort of" mean?
Sort of means that it will fly 4 flights, and that the vehicle that will fly 130 tons may have absolutely no heritage from it whatsoever.
So NASA proposes that it will spend $12 billion on a vehicle that will fly 4 flights, and that it may be a complete dead end. Programmatically speaking.
Yes.
I am pretty sure that this is not advanced mathematics. After analyzing this extensively, I conclude that the cost per flight of this vehicle will be $3 billion. Each flight.
I will not disagree, and I will not even get out my calculator. But then, I don't have access to the sophisticated mathematical tools, or Ouija boards, of NASA and the rocket scientists in the Congress. But you are not thinking like Congress. Won't you think of the jobs? Won't you think of the children? Why do you hate children? Why do you obsess so much about actual progress in space?
This is almost like a parody of a NASA program that no one would believe in real life.
Indeed.
It is as though the agency is testing the limits of how absurd a program can be, and still have Congress accept it for its poor content.
Yes. Except there is no evidence that any such limits exist.
Can you remind me of the amount of NASA's human exploration budget? That is, now, before it gets chopped in the coming fiscal federal budgetary Armageddon.
About $4 billion.
And Congress wants to spend 3/4 of it on a vehicle with no requirements that will only fly 4 times, and a capsule that is too small to do anything beyond the Earth-Moon system, leaving almost no money left over for payloads to actually carry humans beyond Earth orbit.
It would seem so.
And SpaceX announced a couple weeks ago that it was developing a vehicle that could deliver 53 English tons to orbit for a cost of $100 million on its own dime?
Yes.
But Congress resists buying services from it.
Yes.
Remind me again. Do other planets have congresses?
I do not know, No one knows.
If they do, it has to be the most likely explanation for the Fermi paradox.